Video essentials for the busy dentist. Hi everyone, Angus Pryor here, #1 Amazon best-selling author and practice growth specialist, and have I got a treat for you today. As you can see, it's not just me on the screen, there's a much better looking lady sitting next to me. Welcome, Joyce Ong. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Now, Joyce is joining us today from Newharts Media, and frankly, that's a brilliant name because we all want new heights, don't we?
Thank you.
So tell us a bit about Newharts Media. What do you guys do?
So we do video production for professional services and busy business owners as well. So we do a combination of done for you, and we also do a combination of done for you and then done with you, or do it yourself.
That sounds a bit like my business, Joyce.
Yeah.
We do a bit of done for you and we do a bit of done with you. It just depends a bit on the client. Now, so you're doing a lot of video production and you do some photography as well, is that right?
Yes, that's right. So our team actually extends all around Australia.
Okay.
And I'm a producer, which means I kind of figure out what you need and then find the right people for the job and make it all happen. So I organise all the shoots.
And you're the founder of Newharts Media.
Yes, that's right.
How did you come up with the name? I love it, actually. I think it's a great name.
It was about 6 months, actually, of brainstorming. So what had happened was I had another video company that actually got trademarked by somebody else. So I was forced to shut down. And then I took about 6 months before I decided on Newharts Media and then opened that.
No, I mean, for me as a marketer, I'm immediately attracted to that. I go, yeah, I mean, I think that's what a lot of people aspire to, isn't it? New heights. Now, we are talking about video essentials for the busy dentist today. And for the dentists that are watching this, some of them are very busy, some of them are less busy. But if I can say this, dentists, you all think you're busy, even if you're not super busy at the moment. So, Joyce, with your experience making videos, why don't we start? Let's start with why. Let's borrow a line from Simon Sinek. Why should dentists be worrying about video at the moment?
Well, as any business needs, most businesses need leads, right? So a big why for a lot of us is why? Because I want more clients, I want more customers. And this is a really good way to generate more leads and to also get the clients to know you before they actually meet you. Because going to the dentist can be really scary and really nerve-wracking for some people. So if they already have a familiar face that they've connected with on a video, they're more likely to come in and see you sooner as opposed to another dentist down the road who they've never heard of before.
Yeah. Now, look, the marketer in me picks up on three things that you said there. The first thing, which I don't think we mentioned specifically, but let's talk about it directly. I've seen some data that suggests 80% of all content consumed on the internet these days is video. So video's got a huge share in this space. And the second thing that I know from talking to a lot of dentists is most dentists don't do it. So there's an incredible opportunity there. Lots of consumption, lots of hungry fish, and not much bait coming from the dentists. But the other thing that you spoke about, two other points. One is about, you said that people get to know you, and generally speaking, what you want to do in business is take people along the journey of know, like, and trust, where they go from, I've never even heard of you, to now I know you. Now I've seen you on video, which is a much better way on video of actually getting that like aspect, you know, in the sense that, I don't know. I mean, I imagine people's dental fears, some of them are to do with the actual dentistry and it being painful, but some of it's to do with, you know, dare I say, a 20th century dentist turning up in a white coat and, you know, sort of big glasses and feeling like, oh, this guy's freaking me out. He should be in a horror movie. So there's that know, like, and then, of course, once they trust you, then they'll pick up the phone. The other thing that I think you alluded to and I wanted to pick up on is the idea of authority. And, you know, Robert Cialdini in his book Influence talks about 6 factors that influence all of us as consumers, and one of those is authority. And actually there's some kind of scary studies in the book about what people would do when they believe that the person who's asking them to do it has authority. Now, we're not suggesting anything dodgy, but nevertheless, video is a great way to build your authority. So not only do they know, like, and trust you, but when they come and see you, they go, well, I've seen Dr. Joyce on video. I've seen her 6 times now, and she really sounds like she knows what she's talking about. So when I come there and she recommends something, I'm just going to do it.
Mm. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be on anything complex either. It could just be like, what are the causes of toothache?
Yes,
You know,
well, that is
what's the
definitely
difference between Invisalign versus minimally invasive? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. So with that in mind, any thoughts on the types of videos that dentists should be making? I mean, we could get into the detail, but are there sort of different categories of these videos that they could be producing?
Yeah, so the first one is like FAQs, so frequently asked questions that you get asked.
Yep.
You can just make a list of them, do a brain dump. So think about all the questions that you and your receptionist get asked all the time, just make a list, and then that's a really easy starting place because you obviously know all the answers to the questions that you get all the time.
Yeah.
So that's one category, so frequently asked questions, and then they're turned into content videos, which you can put onto your social media, put onto website and things like that. Second category is website. So you might want to have a about video, so a homepage video and about video that talks about how you are different from the other dentists down the road and your unique, your unique selling points, I guess.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because I would say for a very high portion of the Australian public, they would view one dentist as pretty much the same as the next, like a commodity. And so that video that really tries to set you apart is really helpful, because if someone comes to your website or on your Google My Business page or on YouTube and they see that video, you're giving them a reason to choose them over somebody else. And often when people don't know how to compare, well, they just try to compare on price, which is the question we all hate to get. You know, what do you charge for this? Well, that's the only way they've got to compare you. You know, you're $200 and these are $210. Well, I guess I'll go with the 200 one. But you can use video to give them another reason to choose you.
Yeah, and it's also about like explaining your process too, because like I don't know what happens. What's the difference between you and the other person?
Yeah.
Like some dentists have a sit-down half-an-hour consultation to talk about your services first and how it's personalised to that client, whereas other dentists didn't. And I actually didn't know that dentists do that until I recorded a video for a dentist talking about their initial consultation and how much they care and how they're gentle. So all these things that might appear normal that you do might not actually be the norm.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I mean, I guess it's like any business, isn't it? I mean, I would assume that, well, let's take one that everyone would understand. There, I think, is the full spectrum in hamburger businesses. You know, you've got presumably a McDonald's. Is there anybody cheaper or worse than McDonald's? I'm not sure, you know, down this end. And then down this end, you've got a sort of a gourmet hamburger where, you know, I guess if you went to the most expensive restaurant in Australia, who knows, maybe you could pay $50 or $100 for a burger. But you do that because it would be very different to what you got from McDonald's. So yeah, there's always that opportunity. All right, so we've got FAQs, we've got about us and kind of why we're different. Any other videos that they should be making?
I guess you could do more content-based videos as well, which are more in-depth than the FAQs. That kind of go through the processes. So, you know, what's involved with a crown, what's involved with a veneer. And then I'm not sure if in your industry, are you allowed to do testimonial videos?
Yes and no. So testimonials are super powerful in any industry. There is no issue doing testimonial videos for any healthcare professional in Australia as long as the videos are non-clinical. Now, the curious thing about that, so when we say non-clinical, if I say, look, I went to Dr. Joyce and I had this very painful tooth and she drilled and filled or removed it or put a crown or whatever, that's clinical, that's not okay. But if I say I went to Dr. Joyce and the staff were so friendly and, you know, when I went into the surgery, they gave me a blanket and a pillow for my head and I got to watch Netflix and I felt so relaxed afterwards, that is totally okay. And Joyce, would you agree with me? These are very powerful marketing tools.
For sure. It's all about how you make your clients feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about easing them, because I guess dentistry, people get really nervous. So making them feel calm, making them make sure that they know that the experience is going to be a really good experience as well.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, isn't it? That sense. And, one of the things that I do with dentists is help them figure out who their ideal clients are. And the curious thing about dentistry, and there would be other industries as well, sort of technical based, the reality is that the clients have got no way of knowing how good a dentist you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's, on your technical skills. They don't know when you drilled that filling, whether it was 1 mil better than the dentist down the road. They just don't know. But what they say, we've done this exercise so many times, it's what you said earlier. It's how they make me feel. I go to this dentist because the staff are friendly, because it's convenient, because they're really gentle, and whatever. And they never say, which is curious, because the dentists think it's their dental ability. And I would say that part is a sort of a given. Like you've got to be a dentist to be able to practice as a dentist, but your patients can't tell the difference between a good or a bad one from that point of view. What they notice is all that other stuff.
Exactly.
All right, now this video, if we're going to live up to our claims, then we've got to talk about video essentials for the busy dentist. So let's suppose someone watching this, they're drinking from the Kool-Aid. They go, okay, Angus and Joyce, good job. You've convinced me I need to make some videos. What are some of the simple tips they can do to be making better quality videos? Let's assume that we start with an FAQ video, which I think is a great idea and an easy place to start. What are some things they need to keep in mind?
Keep it short and keep it to the point, and don't be too technical.
Okay.
So it's really easy just to go into all the technical things and what happens. But as a general rule, I would say time yourself for 2 minutes max. If you can get your answer to your question down to a minute, that's even better. Okay. Because generally the shorter the video, the better.
Yeah.
So read yourself the question, talk the answer out loud, just do it to your phone, and then you'll be able to see how long that answer goes for.
And speaking of which, would you recommend that you have 2 people on camera, or just a monologue from the dentist?
It's totally up to you. If you find yourself that you're quite nervous on camera, then it's sometimes really nice to have another person there. Then you can kind of bounce off each other's energy when you're presenting. If you are confident on camera, just speak directly down the barrel. And I would also say make sure that you're wearing something professional, so you look like a dentist, so you're conveying the right image as well.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I get, from my point of view, remember, we're trying to take them on this know, like, trust journey, and I would say subtly that the likability can be shown in that interaction between the 2 people. Now, if you've, I guess what I say to practice is get interviewed by the office extrovert. Whoever is the most extroverted person in the practice, that's the one to get on camera with you. And if there's a little bit of byplay between the 2 of you, like, even better. Not manufactured, but if most offices have got someone who's really outgoing and they're just a fun person. I would say, for a simple way for the dentist to start, and if I'm looking at my screen here now, at the time of recording, social distancing is still happening, but it'd kind of be me in the shot over here, and then your buddy over there, and you can be sort of talking to each other and looking to the camera. Does that sound like an achievable thing?
Yeah, definitely. Usually when you're being interviewed as well, you will want to be standing quite close, like uncomfortably close to the person.
Yeah. Because
if you do stand like normal distancing apart, it looks like there's a huge gap in between you. So you will want to stand a bit closer and turn your bodies inwards. So if you're on this side, go like this. And if you're on this side, kind of turn in. You will be uncomfortably close, but that's what looks good on camera.
Yeah.
And you're right as well about the I guess the authenticness that comes out with the banter and just the real talking. And I think it's really important to come across as yourself. And that sometimes that can stop if you're just talking directly to a camera, or if you've written a script and you're reading a teleprompter. Sometimes it does come across as a bit dry or fake, whereas doing an interview with a real person off the cuff can be much better.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, speaking of teleprompters, because our message is about video essentials for the busy dentist, is that something they should be trying to achieve, or is it more get a bit of a handle of what you're going to talk about and then throw away the script and just look at the camera?
It depends on what you're filming, and it depends on your style as well. So I know people that will never use a teleprompter because they're just really good at speaking off the cuff. I know people that have dot points, so they'll just put dot points on their teleprompter with the main point, and then they'll be able to expand upon that dot point. And then I know people that only read teleprompters, but they've got the hang of it, so they can read it and they can sound like they're not reading. They can sound just as natural as they're talking to somebody else while reading because they've practiced.
Yeah,
so it depends on you.
I would say for most dentists, I wouldn't worry about one, but what I definitely don't want people to do is to be sitting there reading from a script. I mean, if I'm looking at my camera right now, which is a webcam on my computer, and I've got a script over here, and my eyes are kind of like this the whole time, people can pick it up very quickly. I prefer that people, even on your phone, I've got my phone plugged in, I'm using it at the moment, but let's imagine my little phone case at the moment. If I can say this, like, know which end of the phone the actual the lens is, because even the difference between looking at that end to that end can be the difference between me sort of doing this and me looking like I'm not quite looking at the camera.
With the phone, though, it's most likely people are looking at themselves instead of at the camera.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I would say I encourage you, look, it's usually a little dot at one end, depending on whether you've got it in selfie mode or not. And I'd encourage them to do that. Okay, so
with the teleprompter, though, if I could just add, if you're filming with a professional film crew, they actually have the teleprompters that go directly in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So you've got the camera here, the teleprompter right in front with the words rolling. So that's another option, and it's good to use if you do have like a sales script or something that you do need to stay directly on point to, or to a time limit. That's when it's really good to use. Otherwise, like you said, it's much more natural if you just do it off the cuff.
Yeah, and Joyce, I don't know what your record is, but my record is 18 takes. So as long as it's less than 18 takes, you should be okay. As I say, I'm more worried about, the eyes darting around the place and sounding very wooden, like I'm reading from a script, than I am about someone who sounds a bit more natural, even though it's not quite as polished.
Just do what works best for you.